Hello, this is Danielle Channels Planets, and today is April 9th, 2026. Well, here we are in Aries season, and we've got a lot going on. Some of you out there might be anticipating or going through some pretty big transformative times. This is kind of the season that many of us astrologers have been waiting for. Looking forward to all of the outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, moving into new signs. And especially in 2026, having this Saturn-Neptune conjunction can really bring forward a lot of massive shifts in collective consciousness of humanity. Moving into the rest of April, these things are definitely going to start taking center stage in all of our lives, and certainly has been playing out on the global level of what we can see unfolding between, America and different countries. There's lots of shifts and changes going on. There's lots of unexpected dynamics that are unfolding. And the way that archetypes, planetary archetypes, permeate our lives, it's a similar correlation. So what's playing out in the cosmos is what's playing out in culture, is what's playing out in our individual lives. Same themes, however, an infinite variety of expressions. So, with that being said, mid-April, here we are. It's Thursday, and some people out there kind of waking up from a deep, deep, deep slumber of a certain way of being in life, and it's not an immediate getting out of it yet. Nope, we have to still do a lot of hard work to get out of whatever old chapter we are trying to complete. And it takes time. And but what's constellating right now in April are, Mercury the messenger as our thinking function, Mars, the archetypal principle of will and action, are coming in to assist us, to help us call to action, and to start implementing some of the changes that are coming through. So Neptune is, if you thought about it, consciousness level wise, far, 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 out there, beyond. We don't access Neptunian states of consciousness that easily. However, with Neptune being so involved right now in a stellium of planets, we do have access to it. We do. We can. In fact, it's not only that we can, it's that it's going to knock on our door unconsciously if we don't answer it, and recognize the need to be in the Neptunian realm right now that is accessible to us. So what does that mean? Well, Neptune realm is the realm of unity and oneness and the Tao and spirituality, and it's where we realize that we are all one, and we're one blanket of universal consciousness that unites everything. It's transcendental. At the same time, if we're unconscious of Neptune, it comes through in quite dissociative ways, and so we can feel a need to numb out or avoid, distract, and we can feel as though there's a foggy haze that has drifted over us of uncertainty and directionlessness. So what does this all mean? Well, here I am in the Neptunian, and to ground this, which is what Saturn and Mars, they're sandwiching Neptune, are here to do. They, in a way, need to function all together. So let's say, like, you woke up this morning and Mars wants to go into action, but there's a need for Neptune. There's a need to acknowledge the spiritual realm for not only tapping into ourselves and our inner world through meditation, through centering, through grounding practices, but Mars also needs a Saturnian discipline. And so that's what's happening right now, is that we can't just go. We need a vision, and we need a belief, and we need a discipline and a structure. So, there can be a lot of uncertainty in the air as Mars moves past Neptune. It can feel like uh, it's going this way and it's going that way and it's going this way and it's going that way. It's as unpredictable as the weather or the water, and as a feeling. And so, but that's exactly what needs to happen. In fact, Neptune is spiritualizing Mars. It wants to connect it to the collective. There's something that Mars is here to help bring through our individual lives, and Mercury's joining up, something that we want to communicate, something that we're thinking about, something that we're talking about, some ideas that are swirling in our minds, and in terms of our individual lives. This is a huge, transit where, or month of April, where um, what we do on an individual basis and the changes that we're going through um, really are connected to what's unfolding collectively, you know, because of the outer planets and because of the personal planets that are gathering around that. Um, what we do in our individual lives can be a gift to the rest of humanity somehow. And so um, now, with that being said, the journey is not so easy. What I mean by that is that a lot of us can feel frustrated, irritated, blocked, sad, despairing, lonely, isolated, unseen. And so those parts of us that are coming up, this is like Aries, the inner child, the inner baby, who, in its unhealthy expression, and it's be very needy and insecurely attached. So, this time right now, the challenge here is to tune within and into our emotions, into our bodies, and be with these emotions and inner parts that are coming up, that are quite heavy and difficult to integrate, that maybe we had never fully have. Maybe we come from family upbringings or generational trauma that has been passed down, and there's something about this time right now where wherever we're going in life, we can't move forward unless we integrate and heal those wounds. So this doorway right now through the new moon that's coming up, the rest of April, and the new moon on April 17th, um, and these planets that are gathering around in Aries, we're really being called to integrate these wounded parts of ourselves and to form a relationship to them that maybe they've never had before. So when we do that, when we go with what we're feeling in our bodies and what's coming up for us on a daily basis, and we recognize the pattern, and then we help it transmute. So Neptune can be the imagination, and taking something like chronic despair in that we feel since childhood, maybe there's a family wound around that's been passed down, a narcissistic wound or whatever it may be, around anger, around shame, and that has a voice. It has a message. It has a pattern to it. And by using the Neptunian imagination to confront that within ourselves, to turn to it in a compassionate way, and to let it be a part of our field of consciousness, and to let it exist, and to hold it, and to let it become one with the rest of us, can help transmute that energy into something else, something closer to self. So this is an alchemical type of transit for Mars to go through. It's asking us to look within before we act. And when we do that, that's where the magic can happen in our outer reality. I mean, the archetypes are structures of the unconscious. And so if we're looking at this map of these planets, we're looking at these huge structures of a giant sea of consciousness that is quite even larger than our waking reality. And so that's within us. That's within us. And when we tune within, and when we confront these things, and when we make them conscious, we can participate with them, and we can allow the archetypes themselves to live through us in integrated ways. So, on one end, you can experience anger and irritability, but on the other end, that anger and irritability that's chronic can be a doorway to greater self-knowledge. But this is a whole journey. And so this isn't happening overnight. I mean, this is a deep confrontation with ourselves in a way that we never have before. One of the images of all of these Aries planets is that of a screaming baby. And a screaming baby that just incessantly cries and incessantly wails, and you know, it's such a high pitch that is deep within us all, culturally and in the world. And so it is our psychological task at this time to hold that screaming baby within ourselves. And as we do that, as we soothe it, and however long it takes to repair that secure connection, so that the baby feels, the inner child within us feels safe, seen, soothed, and secure. Um, that's the transmutation that gives birth to the self. And so this new archetypal way of being with these outer planets and Aries are opening up a doorway to this transcendental experience. But it's hard. It's very hard. And it takes a lot of persistence. It takes a lot of discipline, just like being a parent. It's a deep reparenting of ourselves. And so, um, yeah, this new moon may not be the type of warrior consciousness that people would typically think about with a bunch of Aries stuff going on. I would say more of an inner warrior type of consciousness with Neptune involved, and a peaceful warrior, and that of fiercely, you know, defending our inner worlds and protecting it and making it sacred. And so, at the same time, honoring emotions that arise, you know, not pushing them away, because that will cause more problems. And Neptune, that can certainly be one of the manifestations here, is numbing out and giving into like intoxication and drug use and stuff like that to soothe the inner child. So, best advice would be, if that's happening, you know, again, to use compassion for those parts, and yeah, but to be curious about what is it that we're afraid of confronting within ourselves if we do choose to numb out. Eventually, it will surface. I mean, we'll have to confront it, and this actually might be that time. This actually might be the reckoning. You know, with the doorways open. So I'll keep reporting on these really massive outer transits. So please like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like a personal reading. Um, Go ahead and take a look at my website that's linked below. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.